It's an atypical preseason for the Kansas City Chiefs, but we got to take stock after game 2, which is usually the big one, but not this year. Today on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. We are Locked On Chiefs, and we are focused on them 24/7 all the time from every angle that we can give you. You can find us on every platform, therefore, starting here on YouTube and getting out to the audio sections, as well as everything else. You can find Chris over at KC Chiefs Corner. You can find me at NFL33.com and RGR Football. We appreciate you. We have a lot to talk about because in the wake of what happened on Friday night, we got to take a step back as this process is a little bit different this year than maybe we've seen it mostly. We're going to take stock here today. Who's in and who's out in Kansas City? That's coming up later in the show. What's the bright side of what appears to be a different plan, a different scope to the preseason? That's coming up next. But we start just by taking stock of where this team is after 2 preseason games. And I think it all boils down to exactly what they're trying to get done. This feels a little bit less like normal evaluation of the 2s and 3s, etc., and more like a plan from the get-go, from the day training camp opened, a plan to get through the season, through the big trip internationally, through the regular season, and to get back to that playoff run. This feels like it's a much more all-encompassing plan to me. Where do you think that they are right now?
I think it's interesting, and I think taking stock and looking at what they're doing, what their plan is, to me, this shows that they're playing the entire time. Their plan that they figured out when they saw the schedule and that they were going to Brazil was, okay, we're going to switch what we do in the preseason, and we're going to move our players, and we're not going to have them go up against the Seahawks. We're going to have them go up in week 3, and they're going to get some playing time, and it's because we need to be sharp, we need to be crisp, and I don't want to have the time. I think, at least from my perspective, it's that they are figuring that this is the best way that they can have a chance at beating the Chargers week 1, because it's a division game that they don't normally have, and they feel like it is that important to win that game week 1. So they have switched what they're doing, and they're trying to make it to where they don't have a layoff. They don't have any kind of downtime, and at least they get on the field and get some plays run and hopefully show that they are ready to go for the Chargers game in Brazil.
I have to agree with you because, like, right now we're looking at another preseason game that's 28-0, and the Bills are losing to the Bears. So week 2 seems to be turned on its head, like across the league in some ways, to tell you the truth. But taking a specific look at where they're at in the evaluation process, what we normally use week number 2 for, does anything stand out to you that maybe allows them to make more headway, to plan for the longer scope of the year by doing it this way and getting Mahomes and several of the stars out for week 2 and into week 3?
Well, I think that you develop chemistry and you don't have the long layoff between games. I think that's one of the biggest things. But the other side of it, and I think that this could play in, I obviously I don't have the inside information to verify if this is true or not, but I think part of it is Rashee Rice in his situation, not knowing what is going to be going on with that, thinking he could be out the first couple of weeks of the season, and how important it would be to get off to a fast start regardless of whether or not he's playing. And now it looks like he could be playing in that week, in that game. And so you are going to do whatever you can to try to get off to a fast start against the Chargers and win a division game, because if you can start against the Chargers and get a win, that sets you up for a better way to go through the season, I guess you would say. Let's not forget this team last year, and this is the crazy thing to me, this team last year was 15-1, missing Rashee Rice, missing Hollywood Brown most of the season, missing having Xavier Worthy as their number 1 wide receiver and a Travis Kelce that didn't look Travis Kelce-esque. And this team was still 15-1 last year. Did they get some lucky breaks? Sure. But they are still largely the same team they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't even account for the whole left tackle. Sorry.
Yeah. A couple of significant additions. That's exactly where I was going to go. But when you take stock of where they are as the preseason process, you look around the rest of the AFC West, I wasn't particularly impressed by anything that the Battle of LA produced, particularly on the Chargers side. I mean, you could take a number of takeaways from there, but nothing that scares me. I mean, Trey Lance was not only their leading passer, but their leading rusher in that particular game. So nothing that really gives it away. Maybe the whole league's taking this kind of step back on week 2 because of it. And maybe the Chargers in particular are because they're going to Brazil. Okay, fine.
Well,
But it all sets it up. And my takeaway from that is that they're kind of taking it back, but the Raiders are not. I thought the Raiders like put up their number one offense look like, hey, we're coming out to compete. And does that give you any kind of pause like it does for me that, hey, we can't lay around and think that, it's just talk about the Chargers like it is every year. And it's just the Raiders trying to compete. No, like both these teams are doing the most and they're changing their scope and their process to get to the regular season in order to try to compete with the Chiefs.
No, and as I'm sitting here listening to you talk, I'm sitting here looking at the schedule for week 1. And I would have to go back and look and verify this. But looking at the schedule for week 1, I don't remember seeing 10 or 15 or 10 to 12 divisional games week 1. That's not generally what the league has done.
Right.
So this could be something where the league is shifting to where they're going to say, okay, we're going to play mostly divisional games week 1. And that will change what coaches do to try to attack and try to be ready for the regular season. Because generally speaking, think about a great example, Patriots-Bengals last year. Bengals lose the first, 3 games, I think, last year. And their first game was the Patriots. That's not a game that they were expected to lose. And they're playing against somebody that isn't a divisional. Yeah, it's AFC, but it's not division. So I think maybe the league is looking at it and saying, trying to switch things up and trying to get better football in September, because September football, generally speaking, has been pretty bad. It's still NFL football. It's still the main draw. It's still everything for everybody, but it's not as good as what you're talking about in October and November and December. And to me, the league shifting when games are being played could really change and make people adapt to everything else, because the Bills are playing the Ravens. That's not a divisional game, but that has huge playoff implications already in week 1.
Yeah, absolutely. It is like jumpstart from the go. Everybody has to be ready. And I think that maybe affects the whole thing. So I want to know what the bright sides are of this plan. And that is, for me, number 1, that you hit the ground running with your stars. That's coming next. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. These days, it feels like everything from cold plunges to gratitude journals to screen detoxes are actually finding what works for you is the hard part. So with so much information about mental health and wellness out there, it can be overwhelming to figure out exactly what's true and what's actually help. That's where talking to a licensed therapist comes in, and BetterHelp can make all the difference for you. You get real personalized guidance instead of just guessing based on something you saw on social media. It definitely helps, especially when things get hectic. New school year, everything's starting to feel like it's coming back down upon you. This is the time to get with someone that can help you get through that. There's over 30,000 therapists for BetterHelp. It's the world's largest online therapy platform, serving more than 5 million people. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners are getting 10% off of their first month. It's over at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp.com/lockedon. And you can find more at KC Chiefs Corner, NFL 33, and RGR Football. We'd appreciate if you check those out. If you want on our text line and you want to get breaking news, it's 816-350-780-781. Make sure you check that as well. Now, every plan, every change comes with a little bit of pushback, a little bit of angst, but there are brighter sides to it. From my point of view, from somebody who has been covering this league for going on 15 years now, and I look at all the soft tissue injuries that continue to pop up, for me, it means that maybe your stars are now shifting their focus a little bit later, which means maybe when it gets to week 1, we don't see quite as many injuries. I think that that's a bright side for this Chiefs team too, because right now, if you sustain an injury, you have time to make up for it. You have cut downs coming, etc. When you get to week 1, you don't. So I actually feel like physically it allows the team to be more resilient in week 1.
Yeah, and I also wonder how much of this, specifically for the Chiefs and the Chargers, although the Chargers are their own worst enemy when it comes to injuries, how much of this is, having a 15-hour flight to Brazil?
Mm.
I mean, you basically lose an entire day flying just your flight to Brazil. That doesn't include, the travel time when you're there to get to the hotel, to get to the practice field, to get to the game, to do anything. And then you're dealing with a country that uh, struggled last year to have a good football surface. That caused an issue with the Packers, obviously. But the Eagles won the game. They ended up going on and win the Super Bowl. Who knows? I'm not saying Kansas City will do that, but could happen. We'll see. It could be the benefit of playing there. But the reality is that you're losing a day traveling to Brazil. And not only are you losing a day, it's actually even worse to an extent. You're really losing kind of 3 days because you're playing on a Friday, which is 2 days earlier than you would normally play, and you're also losing a day traveling. So you have all this time you're losing to prepare and get your body right. It's not just the practice, it's the getting the body right. It's the working out of the muscles and getting your body in shape and ready for football season.
Yeah, I completely agree. The other bright spot that I think shows up here is that it allows you to get an early look and maybe a less tutored, less mentored look at some of your young players, your new players that maybe are required in free agency. What we saw was not the greatest game, to be quite honest, that we've seen as a game.
That's putting
right?
it nicely.
I'm trying to be not. I'm trying not to light the fires. It wasn't good, but it gave us a glimpse of what happens when you throw guys into the fire without their leadership. What and who can step up? What happens when you just put all that pressure on them? And now you know who stood out, who responded in a positive way, and who wasn't quite able to do that. It doesn't mean that they won't be able in the future, but it gives you a yardstick right now, and you don't have to wait till week 5 or week 8 of the season.
Yeah. And it gives you the opportunity to find out who could be your next group of leaders on this offense and on this defense beyond, Mahomes and Kelsey and Chris Jones and Nick Bolton. Who else can step up and lead if something happens to one of those guys, which obviously you hope doesn't happen, but injuries happen every single year. That's the reality of the NFL. So it's always going to be next man up. And, you look at how this team is going to be built or how this team is built, and you look at where they are compared to where they were last year. I will tell you, based on just looking at their left tackle, I feel so much better about the offensive line. There's still questions at left guard, and that's a question area that I don't know how they're going to address. But the reality is I think that they're, yards, football fields ahead of where they were last year at left tackle. Obviously, injuries can change that, but the reality is that the guy that they have there, he's going to struggle. He's a rookie. That's fine. But he's still way better than anything they had last year. And there's a lot of potential there for him to get settled in and have a very good season for Kansas City this season.
Yeah, I agree. And you got to take it all with a grain of salt because they're not in the same situation that some of the other teams around the league are. The Bengals are up a creek with Trey Hendrickson. Now it looks like they're fielding offers for a trade. I wouldn't have guessed that 6 weeks ago.
Sorry, I got to laugh at that. Oh, the
You
Bengals are bungling. The Bengals are bungling. Like you have, and I don't remember who I saw say this on X, but I agree with it. It's Joe Burrow is as close to you're going to get as a generational quarterback in Cincinnati. That is the reality.
Yeah,
he's obviously not because you have Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes in the NFL, but like he's as close as you're going to get to a true generational quarterback. And you get him as pass catchers and you keep the offense together, but your defense is going to be so bad. If they don't score 40 points a game, they may still lose and may not make the playoffs.
Yeah. It's pretty hideous. As bad as Chiefs Kingdom is feeling right now about some of the decisions that have been made about this preseason and some of the staff here, remember, you could be in worse shape. You could still be negotiating with Trent McDuffie or George Karlaftis or somebody else that isn't a Trey Hendrickson role. And he plays a significant role for them. Do want to shout out another friend of the show and somebody who's moving teams here. Colin Saunders is getting traded, it looks like, tonight. I don't know how well that goes, but Jacksonville is definitely different than New Orleans. So, hey, if it doesn't work out there, Colin, I'm just saying, go ahead. We need a linebacker in Kansas City, so just come on back.
Linebacker. A linebacker, he says. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he's getting. Well, actually, I'm not horribly surprised he's getting traded. He got paid a pretty decent chunk, and it didn't seem like he was living up to the contract he got last year. I like Colin Saunders, and I think that he would be good in Kansas City, but not at that price. So, if the Jags are willing to take it on, that's a whole different issue. And congratulations to him, and good luck in Jacksonville. You look at the other thing. Kansas City, and we've known this for a couple of weeks now, but Kansas City's going to be playing the Chargers again without one of their premier players in Rashawn Slater. I mean, he's gone for the season and just signed a contract extension, but won't be playing in this game. And maybe, and I haven't seen, did they move John Alt? They move Alt over?
I have not seen yet. I didn't watch the actual snaps.
Okay.
Let me check that.
I think that they moved Alt over from what I remember seeing and put Pipkins as the right tackle. And Chris Jones and George Karlaftis and Charles Omenihu are going to enjoy that at the right tackle position.
Yeah, you got to think so. There's really no way to say that they wouldn't. There's a lot that comes to it, and it's all towards getting to that showdown for Brazil and what gets you into the rest of the regular season. We have to figure out who's in or who's out. My guys are actually pretty well. We're going to tell you about each of them coming up next. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy, and it's the best time of the year because the NFL kickoff is almost here, and that means fantasy football season is back in full swing. This year, Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up with a fantasy football experience like never before. This year, me and Locked On Chiefs are playing on Yahoo Fantasy, so you should too. Whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league, you can get into it. My main league is over 20 years old, and it's been on Yahoo forever. Make sure you check this out because to celebrate their 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over the 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped the Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated from the league each week until there's only one left standing. And this season, it's just around the corner. Now's the time to get your league together and give it a try in a new mode, whether it's one of the classics, this guillotine, or head-to-head, or you can just join a normal public league like you have in the past. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL.
I was correct. He did move over. Alt is the left tackle, so it's Alt and Pipkins, and that will be something to watch when the Chiefs play the Chargers.
Absolutely. Mike Dana, Charles Omenihu, Ashton Gelati, be ready. I think Alt is a guy that is formidable, and I do think making the switch is a challenge, but I think he'll do it. He played there at Notre Dame, not a problem. It'll just take a little bit of getting used to, but certainly will be ready by the time they face the Chiefs. So the question is, which of those pass rushers is going to give you the best performance? Let's start with week one against Alt at this point. In or out, is Charles Omenihu the best pass rusher to go against him?
I'd say out. I think that Karlaftis is still the best pass rusher if you're talking about defensive ends. Omenihu is formidable, but I think Karlaftis is better, and I think he's going to be due for a big season, and I think he's going to want to prove it after getting that new contract.
I think that's fair. I am also out on Omenihu only because I think length is an advantage that Charles uses, and I think that's something that all can kind of stymie a little bit. I actually think Ashton's going to be an asset against a guy like Alt because the one problem I had without calling him out, and I don't think that he's changed this very much yet, is that his foot quickness is not what I would have wanted at left tackle, and I do think that Ashton's going to be able to exploit that a little bit. He did. Ashton Gelati had the best pass rush of any of the twos and ones that played the other night.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to see how the Chiefs attack Pipkins because Pipkins has been a sore spot for the Chargers offensive line. And don't get me wrong, Alt is going to be dealing with some stuff on the left side, but I fully believe that they're going to be attacking Pipkins and going after him.
Yeah, George, I think will have that. So, what are the questions for you?
Oh man, in or out? Hollywood Brown plays this next preseason game.
Out. No reason, no need, nothing to gain. But I do think he plays in Brazil in week 1.
Okay. So you think he's not going to get any time in the preseason, and he's just going to be ready to go week 1?
Yep. I think Andy has faith. I think Mahomes is comfortable. Go for it.
Fair enough.
Would you put him out there? Because I wouldn't.
Man, having him not take a real hit, I would be a little. I mean, it's just a different speed if you haven't played at all. So I'd be a little concerned about that getting into. But he's played in the NFL long enough. He should know what he's getting himself into. So I don't feel great about it, but I guess I would, I'll trust Andy and the coaching staff and the trainers and their decisions on that. But I guess the reason I wonder if he plays is because you're still going to see Worthy. You're still going to see Rashee Rice. You're going to see Travis Kelce. So if you're going to see all those guys getting Brown out there, if he's available, would make some sense.
That's fair. I just wouldn't risk it. Okay, we'll go to my guys so you can tell me how you really feel. I'm still happy with the situation at running back. Does my guy Carson Steele make this roster in or out?
Right now I'm leaning in, but did you see that there is Robinson in Washington is being up for trade?
Shopped, yeah.
Any interest in that?
I do like what he does. I think it would be an interesting addition. He's a young guy, so I think there's no problem there. If they did that, I think that still probably leans toward them keeping 4. But the question is going to be the compensation. Is he worth anything more than a late round pick? Probably not in this offense. So
right.
I would see them pursuing it, but I don't know if they're going to end up pulling the trigger.
No, I agree with that. I don't think that they would, but it'd be interesting if they went that direction. If they made that trade, Steele's definitely out. But right now I'm leaning that he's in. And I don't think Elijah Mitchell's on this team. I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
In or out? Chiefs go with 7 wide receivers.
Against my better judgment, in. And I wouldn't have said this just 2 weeks ago, but with the Rice situation hanging in the balance, and we could get another change of forecast here at any day if they reach an agreement that then does start an actual suspension week 1. If that comes down, that changes everything, and it's just 6 because he goes straight to suspension. Other than that, I think at this point you kind of have to, because too many guys can give you too many things that you can't really walk away from knowing you're going to have to be without him.
2A on that really quick. In or out, Nico Remigio would be picked up by another team if cut.
Tough one, but I say in. I think
me too.
Wants him for the return duties alone.
Yep. I don't think that's a premium. It's not a premium position, but it's premium-esque, as in there's not enough of those guys to go around. So somebody is going to pick him up because of what they've seen.
Agreed. In or out, Brownlee makes it to the practice squad.
It's really going to depend on week 3 for me. If he does anything week 3, then I think it's possible he doesn't make it to the practice squad. That catch showed something, but he's been in the NFL. Teams know what he is. It's not like he's an unknown quality. So, of course, the same almost really could be said about Robert Tonyan, and you've seen what he's done. So don't get me wrong. Like, it's not the same situation, because Tonyan has shown a ton throughout camp and even in the preseason games, but he was a known quantity before he came to Kansas City. So I would think that he would be able to make it to the practice squad. I just can't see somebody being willing to, well, I mean, maybe they'll bring him in, but it's not going to be a great deal to go to another team. I mean, he's not going to get a big deal. It's just going to be private men.
Yeah. And when I say in or out, I really mean who stays in Kansas City, period. The 53 is the 53. We have to have that. But the practice squad plays more of a role in the last few years than it has before it was expanded for COVID. And I think that that's significant. And so I'm actually counting, like, part of the practice squad as the elevation series, that they are part of this team. You have to plan that in a little bit more. And that's why I have more interest in some of the guys that are a little bit further down the depth chart. So with that in mind, in or out, Jay Brenningstool ends up on the practice squad.
Out.
Okay.
I think that if they cut him, I think that they will lose him because I do think that somebody will claim him. It's an undrafted free agent contract. I think that somebody's going to give him an opportunity.
Okay. So what do you think happens with him?
I think he gets put on IR at this point.
Okay.
Like, I think that they just put him on IR and it's a stash for the year, and they go 4 tight ends with Tunyon and Wiley being your fourth.
Yeah, okay.
Tunyon and Wiley being 3 and 4.
Okay. Gotcha. I can see that happening.
I hate saying that, but like, he hasn't practiced in weeks, and I can't imagine that they're going to have him in this game on Friday. I can't imagine he's practicing and playing in this game on Friday.
No.
And I'm sure the team doesn't want him to practice and play in this game on Friday if they want any chance of, keeping him. But I don't think that – I think somebody would give him an opportunity.
Yep, that's fair. I can't disagree with any of that. Anybody else?
In or out, Kansas City keeps 10 defensive linemen.
I think they have to. I think what we've seen of the offensive line allows them to not keep 10 there. I think it's –
Is it 5 and 5?
That's where I'm still struggling. I thought Marlon did a few more things better than we initially saw on rewatch, but I don't know if it's enough to warrant a 5th defensive lineman. And he would be the 5th in my mind. We know the 4 with Mike Pennell, Jerry Tillery, Owen and Chris. I just think the ability of some of the guys like Amenahue and FAU and Dana to come inside and play at the tackle spot, especially in pass rush situations, alleviates some of that need. And quite frankly, I don't think anyone's coming for Tui Pelotu if you cut him. I think he makes it back to the practice squad. You can elevate him when you need to.
Yeah, and I wonder, the caveat on this one for me is, does FAU make the team? And what I mean by that is he could end up on IR. I haven't seen any more on the injury, so it's speculation at this point on my part. But he could end up on IR for this season, and it's not a situation where he necessarily is going to be on IR the entire season. But if he gets put on IR the last day of cuts, he can eventually come back, obviously. But maybe that's how they go to 9 and they keep that extra wide receiver at the time, because it was a hamstring injury from what I remember with FAU. Sometimes those could take a long time to heal.
Yeah, especially with a man of that size. Every individual is different. We'll have to see. We should get a report tomorrow. We'll have all that information for you. Don't miss anything this week. We're going to keep you hammered as we get ready for preseason game number 3, where we're going to see the actual starters a little bit more than we expected, especially the stars. So be with us all week long.
Quick in or out on that. Do they play into the second quarter?
Yes. At this point, with 0 effort in the last game, I think they kind of have to. Let's call it 3 drives is what I'm saying. 3 drives.
Okay,
second quarter,
not second half. But second quarter, but not second half.
Exactly. I'm thinking 3 drives.
Okay. I can get behind that. Yeah, if you go back and look, Mahomes had a total of 2 pass plays.
Mm-hmm.
One didn't count. So, yeah.
And he's Pat Mahomes, but still.
Yeah. Well, and you know how he always says he wants to get hit. I mean, he doesn't necessarily need to get smacked, but he wants to get hit in the preseason.
Yeah, it does help. Let us know what you think. Are they in or out? How long do they play? Leave your comments below here on YouTube, and we appreciate you guys very much. Check out the audio. Check out the rest of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. We appreciate you guys being with us. We're going to be here all week long. Matt's going to be back. We're getting ready for the final preseason game and on to the regular season. It's all a big program. Be with us, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.